So, hello everyone, and welcome to Transport with us, where we film transport. Yeah, I've got an Oreo cheesecake thing from Sainsbury's, by the way. I noticed there's always a Sainsbury's near a train station or in one. Hey, Transport with us, where we talk about transport in general around the UK. Me and Jacob, we're the hosts for this show, and we'll be getting guests on. So if you do want to join the show, just let us know.
Yep, just to reiterate there again, anyone's welcome from all walks of life, all transport industries, whether you're a bus driver, train driver, cleaner, guard, whatever you do, train planner. Love to have you on, love to get the perspectives. So again, as the name of this podcast insinuates, this isn't just about trains. Even though we both work on the railway, it's primarily trains. It's everything to do with transport. So buses, planes, we'll even do cars. You know, we both like cars, so we may talk about cars. So if you're a car guy, come on, bring your nice little car and I can have a nice little look at it, do a little review.
Also, I do know a lot of people that used to like travel on trains back in the day, travel on the tram, the buses, and you got stories to tell. So if you do have stories to tell as well, again, jump on, because it'll be interesting to hear your stories. And one thing I got to say as well, there'll be a lot of different types of people watching this series. So there'll be people higher up in bus companies, train companies, car companies, and feedback matters. But this is not sponsored by Oreo or nothing, yeah. I can't lie, there's this cheesecake here. Like I said, I got it from Sainsbury's. Check this. And I can't lie, it is banging. I'm going to try it now. Jacob's not tried it before, so I'm going to give you like his first hand like experience.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you what he thinks.
One of those rubbish wooden spoons. ASMR there.
I like putting my meats on, you know, because once I was in Leeds and I just randomly got it. And I was like, this is banging. Oh, wow. Just imagine you're on a train.
Just realised the camera changed to me there. He caught me indulging in my nice cheese. Tell you what though, I'm a big fan of cake, and I like a good moist cake.
I've had it West Coast, LNER and TFW. I know you got shops, right?
Get this served as a dessert in first class, that's what I say.
I know we're supposed to be talking about transport, but...
So, another thing that we've got planned for 2026 is car reviews. Now, D and I are both really into cars, and we both love our cars. I've literally just picked up a brand new car today that I really like. In 2026, we're going to start off, we're going to review both of our cars. And if anyone's got, again, any car, we'll review a 2001 Ford Focus all the way up to a Lamborghini. Now, I'd love to know who's watching this and they've got a Lamborghini. But yeah, any car, Mercedes, BMW, Cupra, you know, Ford, whatever. If you want your car reviewing, we're the guys.
So that brings us on nicely to the reviews that we've done. So, out of all the trains that we've reviewed, what's the best train so far that we've done? And tell me why.
I'm going to say 810. East Midlands Railway, Class 810. I think the ambiance of the train was very good. I think the aubergine, it's not purple, it's aubergine. I've come to find out. I thought at first, I was like, you know, I don't really like the East Midlands aubergine. I prefer the stagecoach, you know, back when it was stagecoach liveries. So I was like, oh, it's like just going to be like, you know how like the Great Western trains are called like the cucumbers?
Yeah, there's just one colour on them.
It's long and green. I thought these would be like going to get nicknamed the aubergines. And it's just like, but do you know what? Really nice.
It's good, and I think we should start calling it the aubergine, because it is the aubergine train, you know? Just like the cucumber, it's the aubergine.
Like when you sat in first class, you feel like you need to start using vocabulary like, I'm part of the bourgeoisie, because you've got like them big plush seats with like, that'll say first class on them. It's
true. That's what I liked about them. The fact that it said first class on it and stuff, right? Rather than just being just a headrest and comfy seats. give it that. Because I noticed back in the day, trains used to say first class, and I've said it in the videos. Whereas now, I've noticed a trend where train companies have stopped putting first class, but EMI brought it back. So, like you said, you just feel a bit like you gotta, sit up straight and stuff, and arm and you laugh and armrest and just thank you very much, sir. What I liked about it is that it had thought going to the train. So I noticed like when certain trains come out, or like buses, like for example, the B network. Don't get me wrong, it's had thought into it, but it's batch. So they want to get the buses out as soon as possible. But if you look at like Transdev, I don't know if you know Transdev, like the Whitway, and like no, I'll introduce you that soon. So Transdev, they put thought into their buses, like where they're like little things that people don't notice. Like say you sat in your seat next to the window, you'll have like you'll have like a sign saying USB chargers underneath, and just the little details and the fact that people have thought for the customers, for the staff, that goes a long way, because trust me, as a commuter myself as well, because I do travel on train, so does Jacob. We do notice them things, and I think it just means a lot, because it's like these people care about passenger experience and stuff.
That's the thing. I always say to people, especially on, railway and even on buses and stuff, or just anything where people are traveling, if you didn't have customers, we wouldn't have a job. The people designing the trains wouldn't have a job, because there would be no trains to design. Conductors on board wouldn't have a job. People in control wouldn't have a job. Train drivers wouldn't have a job. And I think we need to always put the customer first, because, as I say, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be in a job. And I think treat them with the respect of, I always view them as, oh, you're the person keeping me in a job.
Absolutely.
And, sometimes, quite often customers can be, a bit ungrateful, a bit rude. But at the end of the day, you got to remember people, are commuting on trains. They might have had a rubbish day at work, and you want to make that experience as good as possible. So even if someone is in a bit of a mood, you want them to get on the train and they've not got bright lights in their face. It's, calm, ambient lighting, sort of all of that. I think that's the way to go forward.
I think the experience starts from the moment you get to that station, the signage that says what the station name is. Once you go into the station, the signage around the station, the atmosphere, the staff, the colours, and then continues to the platform, accessibility. And I think, like you said, it's the customers that make a business boom. Because if there was no customers, like you said, there'd be no business, there'd be no revenue, and there'd be no money. And that's what I feel like it's important to appreciate the people. It's like car companies now, I've noticed, right? It's just screens. So it's just like, if you look at the Mercedes A-Class, right? It's just screens. Now, the best car interior, in my opinion, is the Mercedes E-Class from 2000 and I think it was 15.
They're just bougie, aren't they, Mercs? Like the interior.
They did. Yeah. But now, if you look at any Mercedes, it's just screen, and that's mass production. There's no thought. It's just stick the screen in, right, and that's it. Whereas the old ones, it was like, put the wooden effect here and put all this down and put the analogs in. That's what I miss.
As obviously, I struggle sometimes to talk about the railway from like a consumer's point of view, because obviously now that I work on the railway, even when I do travel from like a passenger perspective, I'm a lot more sort of, I get why a train's late, whereas the norm. But when it comes to cars, obviously we're not building cars, we don't work with cars. And I think one thing, you mentioned there loads of screens in new cars. I think one thing that bugs me about new cars is when the climate controls are put through the screen. Vauxhall Corsa 2023, 1.2 litre petrol manual. And you had your screen and you had to do like the aircon and stuff through the screen. So say I'm driving along, I've got Apple CarPlay up, I've got my maps up, and then I want to then turn it down by 1 degree. Instead of just turning a knob or flicking a switch, you've got to go into like a whole menu, distract yourself from driving. It just ruins it. And I think, again, it goes to show that I think sometimes maybe in all industries, whilst there is consideration for the consumer, I think sometimes there's also a bit of, do manufacturers make things for their own convenience sort of thing?
I believe it's just about a business is about profits. Don't get me wrong, that's how it is. That's how it's always been. Right? But I think it should be a bit of consideration. Just add like a twisty thing where you can just twist the button, and that's how it should be. So, did you ever get on the old Manchester Metrolinx, the green ones? I grew up on them, by the way. So nice.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
And here you go. I'm going to make a discussion in of itself.
Surprise me now, It's surprising me now.
So I'm the only northerner in my family. So the rest of my family is from down south. The only person that lives up north with me is my mum, who's also a southerner. But when they all used to come up and visit Manchester and we get on the tram, we just have a family argument about whether it was green or turquoise. Just like straight. I thought it was turquoise, but everyone else seemed to think it was green. So there's like little old 4-year-old me having to defend myself against all my family, saying like, nah, these trams are turquoise, but what do you think? What colour do you think they are?
I went through a phase. So I used to call them the blue trams, right? Then I called them the green trams. And then as I got a tiny bit older, I started calling them turquoise. But I definitely say they were turquoise. They were nice though. They did sound good and stuff. They're called T68s, by the way.
I think there's one in a Crew Heritage Centre, like that heritage place next to Crew Station. I think they've got one in there, but
there's one in the Manchester Museum as well. I did a review on one of them, so check it out.
Do you prefer, and you need to correct me on this because you're the bus and tram guy, are the new ones, are they M5000?
Oh, he's got it. He's got it,
Swift?
Flexi Swift, yeah. I got it, He's learning,
Yeah. I know my Enviro 200 from my Enviro 400.
This guy's a bus spotter,
Yeah.
This guy's a secret bus spotter.
Secret DL bus spotter. But yeah, do you prefer the old trams or the new trams?
Absolutely, the old ones. The old ones are just similar to a lot of old, and I'm not just saying it because, because to be fair, the yellow trams are quite old now. The first one came in service in 2009-10, so it's about 16 years old, so that's quite old. But then the latest one came out in service, I think it was 2022, that's when the last one came in service. But I absolutely prefer the old ones. Much more character, the aesthetic was nice, again, the interior, the lights were just bright in your face. There was more seats on the old ones. And if you notice, if you ever get on like a train, tram, or a bus, and the lights are dark, and like the interior is like orange, or it's like kind of like warm colours, do you feel, because I do you feel automatically a bit warm when you're actually in on them?
Yeah, I think, yeah. And also it sort of makes you feel a bit more tired.
Yeah.
Because I think, like, remember when we went to London, we got on that class 717, and I mentioned that I thought it was quite akin to my dentist.
Oh yeah, because we went to the Arsenal Stadium, didn't we?
You just step in and it's just blue, and then there's just lights. You feel like you need them glasses you have in the dentist because it's just that bright.
Best train I always feel really confident is the 390, because even with the blue lights inside as well, after the refurbishment, it just gives it a luxury. Because I noticed blue and purple, right? They give off luxury, and then you got like blue or purple. Yeah, man, I should take note of this as well. It just gives it like a premium look. And I do know Northern and Transfer 9 are two new trains. So if anyone is watching this and you're from the designing department or anything to do with the new trains, we've got a few ideas here, So just give us a shout and we'll call it.
Bank transfer.
Apple Pay. I do like my food, by the way. So if you just see me eating randomly, just allow me it.
Guy's got a jelly, I had a jelly since I was about 6.
So I'll be telling you. Memories that.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day. So when I was young, I was actually scared of trains. I used to have a sinking feeling that they were going to break down, and I used to think, how am I going to get out? This was like my biggest fear. Lifts, trains, trams, and planes, right? Lifts, like elevators and things that go up and down. Planes that go up and down, right? They still scare me to this day. I'm not in control. Right? I'm not a control freak, but the fact that this machine, this metal box thing, is just taking me up and down. And if that drops, I'm going bang on the floor. I don't like it. Trains, I just used to be scared because I thought, what if I break down? And trams, how are we going to get off? There's a big gap down the tracks. What if another one comes? But as I've started working on trains and started to get to know more about trains, it's like, this is why there's a conductor on trains in case something goes wrong, because then they can help you. Because imagine the train, unlike the incident, that the train crashed, driver got injured, incapacitated, at least you got a conductor. So that's why I think the north is absolutely better than the south, because you have conductors, and it's not just about tickets, it's not just about being in control, kicking people off, it's about safety. Because imagine maybe one of your family members was on a train late night on their own, and maybe the phone died or they were being followed. And I know they say on a lot of trains that press this button to get assistance, but imagine someone's following you or you feel vulnerable, and then you're pressing that button, and then this person then lashes out. So I feel like it's best that conductors do stay on trains. So we've got to appreciate the conductors, got to show them love and stuff. Down south, you've done it wrong.
I used to be scared of the Transport Museum.
Oh yeah, which one? Manchester.
Yeah, where
Street.
Where you've got all like the static buses, which is the one with all like the static buses, just bare buses.
Oh, is it Queen's Road? It's next to the bus depot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got like all the old fashioned buses. I used to go there a lot as a kid because again, I've always liked sort of transport. I'm talking about when I was like a little youth, when I was like 3-4 years old. I used to think when I was walking next to these buses, because obviously I'm like down there and these buses are like up there, I used to think the buses would just start and just run me over. So I just used to have an irrational fear of buses. I'd just be like in the street. I'd be like, the bus is going to like run me over or something.
Gonna go lip man down and that, yeah?
It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, never thought little old me getting scared of buses would be working on like trains, which are like 4 times the size, if not more.
For real.
So you never know what life's going to throw at you. That's all I'll say.
Speaking of life, so 2026, there's a lot of things happening, changes. So we're going to continue the train reviews, but we want to kind of mix it up a bit. So we're going to keep the reviews going. Jacob's idea was a car review, so we're going to start getting different cars and stuff and venture into that. Station reviews, we're going to get into that because it obviously matches perfectly with the train reviews because it's the experience. So again, we've got the trains, we've got the stations, we've got the cars, because some people actually commute to the station in the cars, park up, use the train station, use the train, use another train station, and then go home or go to whatever they got to do. So we'll be doing that, and then obviously we've got the Transport With Us podcast where we just bus convo on the, bus convo at the camera and that, and just talking to the mics and stuff. You are welcome as well. If you want to jump on, drop us a message, drop us a DM, drop Jacob a DM as well, because we're both running this. This is both of our venture, so we're both equally the owner of Transport With Us.
And a bit on the car reviews, I'll be posting it on my LinkedIn, a few of the car reviews, not all of them, but I'll also be making an Instagram and a TikTok account where the car reviews will get posted. So we'll probably go for Dee's account, sort of stays more to do with like the trains and the public transport. I don't know why I'm going like that because it is public transport, but the traditional transport, and then I'll venture more into the car side of things. So yeah, if anyone wants to have their car reviewed or can provide a car for a review, that would be absolutely fantastic.
331, I can't lie, the Rapid, I just thought of it. I was on a 331 and it was just the good trains. Like, I feel like with the 331s, right, they're just, like, don't get me wrong, 323 sound gorgeous, right, but 331 sound good. They sound alright, good, alright. But the way they speed along, when the trains first came, right, if you didn't know, because I know Jacob probably knew, it was one of the fastest accelerating trains in the UK, right? And I mean like multiple units, because a lot of people be like, oh well, it's a class 90 light and it's this and that. Alright, cool, right. But the multiple unit, let me just get technical for the ones that like to be technical and that, right? So multiple unit, it was the fastest 3 carriage accelerating train in the UK at one point, because it was so fast at accelerating, like rapid, like dangerously fast, yeah, they had to tone it down. So now the software, when they accelerate, I've been told anyway, right? So it's limited to 75%, but then it goes to 100. That's what I've been told. Yeah, I remember when they did first came. Did you ever get on when it first came?
Yeah, I remember. And obviously, this is just, I can't say officially I'm not a driver or anything, but I remember when I first got when they came out, because at the time I was living in Cheadle, so they were coming through going to Crewe, back when the Crews used to go through to Liverpool and stuff.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Because didn't you have 319s?
Yeah,
as well?
It was 323s, 319s, 331s, and the drivers were just lick it up.
God.
And they were on the Crewe services, and I remember the drivers were just full power, just rapid, and then it began to get toned down. And I spoke to a northern driver based at Doncaster, funnily enough, very weird, who said it sort of became an instruction of don't take full power just because they're so fast. And as well, they run to say like you've got one going to Alderley Edge, it runs on 323 pathing, or like one going to Blackpool runs on a 323 path.
And 323s are a bit slower, aren't they?
Yeah, so there's no need for a driver. I mean, you could probably drive them fast to make up time, but I think if you're just on time, you're quite tame with them.
So diesel trains. I love the 150. The 150 stroke one is my absolute favourite train, especially when it's I just like full power, just hearing that. Honestly, it's so nice, right? Sadly, I've heard they are about to go soon, about 4 years, something like that. But hopefully, there is more that I preserved, because I do know someone preserved a stroke 150 stroke 2. Who is that?
Porterbrook, I think. Are you on about that one in regional railways?
Yeah.
Porterbrook.
Oh, bro. Someone needs to preserve a stroke. I'm saying reserve, like reserve a seat on the transfer that train. But I feel like someone needs to preserve a stroke one, because they're the originals, right? The slammed on units, right? I think they're good. I think they're amazing. And again, it's good for the conductor, because you have your own space, and if the train does get really busy, you're not pushing past people. You're just in your own space, and you can just do your thing, keep the service on time. I've heard one of my favourite buses has been with John as well. Well, two of them. So 2 ex-JPT buses. I used to grow up on these. So I was born in North Manchester, so I grew up on these buses, right? 27625 is with Stagecoach, my absolute favourite bus, right? 6-cylinder, right? That bus could do 90 on motorways. Now, buses are limited to from 56 to 62 miles an hour. That bus could do 90, bro. I was shocked, right? You had to limit it because, Stagecoach. 6-cylinder diesel engine, turbocharged, right? And honestly, that stuff's nice. It was absolutely gorgeous. B-Networks took out of service because Middleton Depot has gone all electric. So that means the diesel buses are just sat in a yard, I think, in Denton. And
Me that.
Yeah, I was about to say that, but I didn't want to say it in case you're like, yeah. I might speak to Stagecoach and ask them and see what we can do. I won't mind preserving one of the buses and putting it back into JPT colours and just, bringing it into the bus museum, because that is part of Manchester history. JPT, Bluebird, First Bus, they're my era type buses. And obviously you've got Fingland on Wimsall Road and all that, and Magic Bus. Do you remember Magic Bus?
You beat me to it there. I was literally about to say, do you remember Magic Bus?
Yeah, Magic Bus was good,
Yeah. Again, I'm not really into buses, but I used to remember those Magic Buses, and you see the guy on the back with his wand and stuff.
Yeah, the one guy in it. Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah.
Magic Bus was good, because I remember he went through Liverpool, so they had the dark blue one, didn't they? Right? And then they brought the guy with the wand, because he had these old buses. Apparently, there was 2 versions of them. There was a Dennis Dragon and a Dennis Dominator. I think the Dennis Dominator, right? It came up on it.
It was like a really dodgy name.
Hit it. So the Dennis Dominators, they came from Hong Kong, and they weren't brand new. They were quite old buses built in I think the 90s or the 80s and stuff. I think it was the 80s. Really old buses, right? And he came on a ship, and apparently the ship sank, right? And apparently the Dennis Dominators in the ocean somewhere. A bit like the Titanic, but that's what I've been told anyway. And then after that, they got ALX 400s. They were banging buses, banging Plaxton Presidents, ALX 400s. That's why they had the one, like you said, the wizard guy and the wand and stuff, right? And then they changed it again to like, they added a few Enviro 400s onto that. And they put, you remember that livery? I don't know if you remember it. And it was like a yellow livery. It was like the Stagecoach livery, but Magic Bus. Do you remember it?
That's the one I was referring to.
The yellow one. Yeah.
I remember seeing it on what I think is like the old style Enviro.
Yeah.
Like, you know how there was it's MMC, the facelifted ones. The ones before, like the 62 reg plate ones.
Yeah, like the old ones, like the 08 plates, so like the...
Yeah, and like the steering wheel would have like a blue Finks and Alexander.
This guy knows,
One thing though, even though I've never been into buses, I always used to sit in that little seat and watch the bus driver drive.
I used to call it, right, the spy seat, right? Because you could just sit and spy the driver, yeah. But one thing that used to annoy me, because I used to get the bus with my mum and my sister, right? I used to live in Wimishar. There was a time when I lived in Wimishar. I used to get the 43, 105. That existed back in the day. Now it's 103. And my mum used to sit, so she used to sit at the back or somewhere with my sister, right? And I used to always either want to sit upstairs at the front or at the spy seat. When I sat at the spy seat, right, there was always someone that decided to just sit next to me. And I was like, why do you want to sit next to me when the bus is empty? Go to the back. I was just, when someone sat next to me, I was just so annoyed. Like, I remember once, little young me put my glasses on the seat, so some woman didn't sit next to me. What does she do? She sits next to me. She moves her glasses, passes it me, and sits next to me. The final Magic Bus livery was the one where it was in the new Stagecoach livery, brand new one, 2010. Well, the one that's before the new one, like a chrome livery, and it had a few stars on. He started putting hybrids on that because he just used to fire the old buses on. And then, yeah, there's still a few knocking around, but obviously they'll be playing into B Network. I'll get a photo of it. But rest in peace, Magic Bus, because we do miss you, all the students. Yeah, Magic Bus has played a big part in Manchester.
Do you remember, you mentioned there about hybrid buses, the green ones? Yeah, the green ones.
They were my favourite, So it was a batch. So let's take you back. So my nana and my sister's dad, me and my sister have different dads. And one day I was going to school. This when I was really young. I was about 6, 7. I was 6, 7. So I was about 6, 7 at the time. And he rang my mum and she put me on the phone. She's like, there's these new buses. And there used to be a bus depot in my side called Princess Road Depot. And that was a big depot. Big. Now there's flats there. And they actually called it the bus depot. So they paid homage to the bus depot and stuff. And they got these new green hybrids. And I was like, oh my gosh, Mum, let's get one of these. And they put them on my local bus route, which was the 43 Manchester Airport to Piccadilly Gardens and just back. I got on it for the first time. And I said, Mum, can I sit upstairs? Because it's a new bus. I loved it so much. Honestly, like, they were good. It was just, weirdly enough, they used to set on fire all the time, though. Not gonna lie. 2010 batch used to set on fire. Like, there was loads of fires. And now they've got rid of them about a year ago. And they've gone to Skegness. That's where some of ours. Oxford had a few as well, to be fair. Yeah, they were good.
Them Volvo electric.
Yeah.
One of them the other day, by the way, telling D earlier, smoked me off the line at the traffic lights. My ego's never been bruised any more than that. I got smoked by a bus. So they're fast then. So
rapid. Oh, we're coming to the end of the video. This was just a quick, to see how things go on. Like the last one we did with Jacob JB Trains, unfortunately the audio didn't work out great, so we had to just re-video it. But we'll get him on soon because he did tell us some good stories and stuff. But we've got a lot of things coming in 2026. So if you do want to get on, drop us a message. I hope everyone as well had a great Christmas and a great New Year. Any advice, any questions, or any feedback for us both as well, right? Drop us a message because, like I said, we're just normal people at the end of the day. Yeah, we do our videos and stuff, but we're scared to text us. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.